What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review the 2025 CVO Street Glide in the Raven Fade colorway. Really quickly, before we get into the video, I want to give a shout out to my friends at Tim's Harley Davidson in Anderson, South Carolina for allowing me to do this. So if you're in the area or you're willing to travel, please come do business with Tim's. Support the people that support me. So in typical fashion, I'll give you guys a quick walk around before we dive into all the details of this new CVO. So MSRP on this thing is going to be $46,000. That's going to depend on your colorway and choice of finish. So like I said, we're looking at it in the Raven Fade colorway, and that's only available on the Scorched Chrome, which is what you're looking at now. Scorched Chrome, you can get it in this color or Poison Berry. In the regular chrome, you can only get it in Blue Streak. Now, as soon as they pulled this bike off the truck today, I was a huge fan of this Raven Fade colorway. It's hard to tell, but you've got that heavy metallic. It's a deep black color that fades into a lighter gray color, and I'm a big fan of that. So let's start with the power plant on this thing. You're gonna get the 121 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine. This is a VVT engine. I know there's been a lot of confusion in the past on which bikes are and which bikes aren't. It's only the CVO models, and that excludes the CVO Road Glide ST model. So if it's the ST model, one of these two here, it's not going to be the VVT. I think what's throwing people off is this cam cover here does look the same on all of the new M8 models, including the new Softails, but it is not a VVT bike unless it's a regular CVO, and if it's not branded VVT, that's gonna be the easiest way to know. But this thing is making 115 horsepower, 139 foot-pounds of torque. If you throw a better exhaust system on here and a good tune, you can get significantly more. This thing is very corked up from the factory due to EPA restrictions. So if you let this thing breathe, you can make a lot of power with it. Now, originally, I thought nothing changed on this bike from 2024 until I noticed these 9-spoke wheels. These are a really, really good factory wheel, in my opinion. Probably some of the best that I can recall on a Harley Davidson in recent years. So let's give a shout out to Harley for that, stepping up the game on the wheels. Obviously your rear matches, even though you can barely see it. And yes, that does matter to all the dudes at Bike Week rolling around on a stock rear. And a real fancy, flashy, expensive front wheel. Do them both, guys. So on your tank, I really love this just simple, clean, cut out bar and shield logo. There is some texturing to it, which adds a nice little bit of flair, as well as the orange trim that you're gonna see throughout the bike here, the piping on the seat, the little badge here, just kind of little traces of orange all over this bike. And I think on this colorway, that is a really, really good looking option, all the way down to the floorboard and stuff. Now, being a CVO, you are gonna get like a collection, Harley likes to call it, and that's your grips are gonna match your floorboards, which are gonna match your passenger pegs, etc. And I think that's a really, really nice touch when you compare it to floorboards that are gonna come on your Street Glide, Road Glide, etc. These don't seem bad until you see them right beside some of the really nice ones. Passenger pegs are not terrible, but the floorboards just seem like they leave a lot to be desired when you compare it to a more high-end floorboard. Obviously something a lot of people change right off the bat, but it's nice to get it. Obviously it's not free, you do pay for it. As we said, this bike does have a $46,000 MSRP, so you're definitely paying for it, but it's nice that you don't have to mess with it. The front end of this bike, that's something I'd really want to talk about, and this is an inverted front end. For those that don't know, your traditional Harley Davidson suspension, the travel is from top down to the bottom. With this suspension setup, it travels from the bottom up to the top. Significant difference when you're riding, not just in like straight line riding, but especially in the corners. these inverted front ends perform so much better. So you think about it, it's on the CVO model, it's on the CVO ST, which is one of their performance models. They put it on the Sportster S model. They put it on the Lowrider S, Lowrider ST. It is a performance suspension. I've been asking for Harley to put that on all touring bikes for quite a while now. I thought this was the year. I'd heard rumors that this was the year. Apparently not, but you do get it on the CVO. Ride one back to back and you'll see the difference. You also get big dual disc front brakes with Brembo branded calipers on there. Brembo does make the brakes for the other Harley models. It's just branded Harley instead of Brembo. And today's day and age, the Brembos on the front of the bike is just a flex. So it's good to show it off. Let people know you have the high-end component. Let people know that you spent some of that cheddar. Then finishing up the front of the bike, for those that haven't seen it, this is the new design fairing where your turn signals are integrated. They are LED. And they come down and you see they match this line. There's a nice little halo around this headlight. I love this fairing. I love a Batwing fairing, a Street Glide in general, but I really do like this redesign. Your windshield on here is going to be a nice low profile tinted windshield, and you do still get the vent that opens and closes. I've ridden it with it open, I've ridden with it closed. I didn't notice a ton of difference personally, like rain, wind, etc. It was noticeable, but not by a ton. You'll also see that being a CVO, you're going to get the Stage 3 Rockford speakers in the front of this bike, as well as in the saddlebag lids. And there will also be an amp to help push power to these speakers. So you're going to get really good audio on this thing. For those that haven't seen it, this is Harley's new 12.3-inch screen. We won't go into all the features, but I will power this thing up just to let you guys see how nice this thing really is. And I know some guys fight that. They want less tech on their bikes. Okay, then don't buy a new bike. Just buy a used bike. Go buy a Road King that hasn't sold yet or something. I don't know what to tell you, but I personally am a fan of the screen. I'm a fan of the tech on the bikes. You'll see one thing that we will go through really quickly is the ride mode. So over here in the left-hand corner, you'll see that S, that is for sport mode. So we hit it, we go to rain mode, road mode, and then back to sport mode. So 3 ride modes, really the only 3 I feel like you need. Whenever I ride a bike that has sport mode, I put it in sport mode and I leave it. Rain mode could be good for a newer rider or somebody that's worried about getting themselves in trouble with a little bit too much power. I don't think you're really gonna break this bike loose, so I don't think it's a huge concern. But if you're a newer rider, I get it. You'll notice that your inner fairing is painted, and I point that out because on the other Street Glide models, it is not. You're gonna get this unpainted look, which is great in one regard in that it doesn't reflect the sun. One thing I've noticed about painted inner fairings is with the sun at your back, it can almost blind you, especially chrome dash, things like that. This bike, the dash is blacked out since the bike is blacked out. But like I was saying, you get the painted inner fairing, which is really nice. You have this nice little tray here, and maybe it's kind of gimmicky, but when I first saw this on the CVOs, I was a big fan. I love that Harley's gone to USB-C. Small thing, but makes a big difference for a guy like me who powers everything off USB-C stuff. If it's been a while since you've looked at Harley Davidson controls, they probably look pretty different to you nowadays. So really quickly, this is just going to be your navigational stuff to move around the screen. This is about like your enter button on your computer. This takes you back when you're scrolling through stuff. This brings stuff in the menu. Your left and right turn signal are separated, so obviously left on the left side, right on the right. Your horn, your cruise control, your trip button, and your traction control. And then on the right-hand side, you have your run start switch built into one now. Your hazard flashers, all of this controls your radio. So next song, volume, play, pause, push to talk stuff. This is how I was toggling the ride modes here, and then your right turn signal. I want to point out that your brake, hydraulic, obviously, your clutch is cable. Originally, I was bummed when Harley went back to the cable clutch. The more that I ride them and the more I ride the older hydraulic style clutches, the more I realize I actually do really prefer the feel of the cable. It's just got a little more feedback for me. So being a Harley touring bike, this is gonna be their 6-gallon tank, the biggest tank that Harley Davidson provides. Although it looks a little more streamlined than it did before, it is still 6-gallon. So you've got the CVO branded seat, and this is, you know, like I said, it's nice. It's got Alcantara on it. It's got the piping on here. It's a really nice looking seat. The reality is I think a lot of people are gonna swap it out. Seats are very subjective. I tend to run Saddleman seats on all of my bikes. The step up, it gives me a little bit of lumbar support. This is not trying to plug them, just again, like I said, it's subjective. People are gonna love different stuff. I like the Saddleman. This is my bike. I'm throwing a nice Saddleman seat on there, but you do get a really nice one from the factory. Docking hardware does not come on the CVO. That's just something that the dealership here does. They throw docking hardware on all their touring bikes because I think pretty much every touring bike that leaves this dealership, the customer ends up getting it and installing it anyway, so it just saves a little bit of time in the process. So as I mentioned on the bags, you do get Rockford speakers in your saddlebag lid, and for those that have never seen it, that's kind of what the inside looks like. On these CVOs, you're also going to get these really nice bags that fit the same profile of your saddlebag, and this is nice because it keeps you from overpacking, and then when you get where you're going, all you do is open the bag, lift these out, and you've got your stuff, you're good to go. Now on other Harley Davidson models, you're getting one key fob these days. If you spend $40,000, almost $50,000, you now get 2 key fobs, about the same as years in the past. You've got your barrel key that flips out here. And then you've got your lock and unlock button. So what that's gonna do is arm the alarm on the motorcycle as well as lock your saddlebag so that nobody can get into them, which is really nice instead of having to stick your key in each side and lock them up. Nice little touch. And then in this bag, you're going to get a nice CVO cover, so when it's parked in your garage, it's not getting all filthy. Moving around to the back of the bike, nothing that different than their other touring bikes. So this lighting system, this French-looking lighting system on the back here, that used to be a CVO thing. Now it comes standard on the Road Glide, Street Glide, Street Glide Ultra. Basically, all the Harley Davidson touring bikes are gonna have this setup. It is really clean, nice, simple, keeps the back of the bike nice, keeps the lines nice. I'm also glad that we're finally moved away from the stretched bags, and I may be in the minority there. I know a lot of guys like the stretched bags. I personally didn't, so I like this chopped look here. So one thing I'll point out really quickly right here is the addition of the hill shifter, which as many people know have gone away quite some time ago, unless you spend 50 G's, and then Harley will throw that hill shifter on there for you. I hate them, I don't run them, I take them off, so they did me a favor. Also on the CVOs, you have this external preload adjustment for your shock. I highly encourage you to check your owner's manual, set it for your weight, and if you throw a passenger and some luggage in here and that changes, especially if it changes significantly, take the time to adjust the dial. It does make that big of a difference. It's definitely worth taking the 2 seconds it takes to rotate that knob and just get a better feel out of the suspension of this bike. I noticed no heated grips on this bike and no heated seat, which used to be a standard thing on the CVO. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was pretty sure all CVO models came with the heated grips and heated seat. I don't see either on this bike. I wouldn't expect it on the CVO ST model, just it's a performance thing, so weight savings, yada yada. However you want to justify it, I honestly wouldn't expect it on this bike, even though it is a CVO. However, I am surprised to see that it's not on this one. Now, I'll give you guys one quick last walk around on this one. What are your thoughts, guys? Are the CVOs, are they still what they used to be? Do they still carry the prestige that they used to carry? There's small things that probably I overlook, like the braided lines, little things that do make it really nice, but I feel like a lot of people have started to buy, say, like a base model Street Glide, which now there is no standard, there is no special, it's just the Street Glide or the Road Glide, and build their own CVO for the money difference. Which camp are you in? Are you going to buy the CVO, ride it like it is? Or are you going to buy the CVO and then make it your own? Or are you just going to buy a Street Glide and spend all the extra cash maybe on performance or things other than what Harley has put on this bike for the additional money? That's going to be it for this one, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, especially those watching to the very end. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.